this is Mwasser. I'm going to be talking about the Informal Reading Inventory, or the IRI. An IRI consists of oral and silent reading passages that are selected from basal readers all the way from the pre-primer to the 8th grade levels. It serves as a valuable aid in helping teachers determine a student's reading levels and his or her strengths and weaknesses. There are 3 levels that one must look for when administering an IRI: the independent level, the instructional level, and the frustration level. At the independent level is the highest level at which an individual can read and satisfy all the criteria for desirable reading behavior in silent and oral reading situations. A minimum comprehension score of 90% should be achieved. Students should have good oral rhythm with proper phrasing and attention to punctuation for the oral reading selection. The instructional level is the level at which teaching is done. A minimum comprehension score of at least 75% for both oral and silent reading on literal and interpretive questions should be achieved. In the oral reading, there should be accurate pronunciation of at least 95% of the words. It is important that this level is not too challenging, that it frustrates the student, and not too easy that the student becomes bored. The frustrational level is the level that should be avoided. However, it is helpful for teachers to know what this level is so that they can avoid giving students reading material at this level. A teacher can tell that the student has reached his or her frustrational level when the child attains a comprehension score of 50% or less on literal and interpretive questions for oral and silent reading and is unable to pronounce 10% of the words in the oral reading passage. When administering the IRI, there are certain steps that need to be taken. Step 1 is establishing rapport. It is important for the child to know that this is not a real test, but is really to help both of you learn more about the child's reading. The teacher should be able to relieve any fear that the child may have. Step 2 is the word recognition inventory. This is usually a word list that is from the basal reader series and is used to determine at which level to begin the oral reading passages. It starts 2 grade levels below the student's current grade level. For example, if a student is in 5th grade, you begin the word list at the 3rd grade level. Once a student has read the word list, students begin to read oral and silent reading passages at the highest level at which he or she has made 0 errors on the word list. The teacher should introduce the passage and ask the child to read it aloud and answer the questions that follow. The silent reading passage is then administered. The student should read the passages to his or herself and then is asked comprehension questions that follow. The student keeps moving to the next level. The same procedure continues until the child reaches his or her frustration level. At this point, after the oral reading test, when the child has reached his or her frustration level, instead of administering the silent reading passage, administer a listening capacity test. This test is given to determine a child's comprehension through listening. A listening capacity test can help identify those students who seem to gain information better through listening rather than reading.